Welcome back for another video. In this one we're going to run through all your biggest questions and dilemmas ahead of Gameweek 13. Loads of great questions again this week, so thanks for sending in. If you'd like yours answered in a future video, every Wednesday I post on my channel taking your questions. The only requirement is to be subscribed and you'll see the post in your feed, or you can find it on the community tab on my channel. Let's get started then, and Simon asked whether to replace Bowen with Mitoma or Palmer. Mitoma is also a major doubt, so we'll include him in the conversation here. The latest on these two is that Andy Naylor expects Mitoma to miss Brighton's match against Forest this weekend. He's a reliable source for Brighton news. And Bowen's had a scan showing a fluid in his knee. He's going to see a specialist to determine how long he'll be out. Ex-West Ham employee, also very reliable for West Ham. So who are the best replacements? Mbeumo makes more sense despite the Arsenal fixture. After that he's got Luton, Brighton, Sheffield United and Villa before blank Gameweek 18. This season's top 3 players for expected goal involvement are Haaland, Salah and then Mbeumo. Obviously he's on penalties, set pieces and even plays as a striker when Brentford line up with a front two. Palmer's great as well, don't get me wrong, but he's a lower priority pick than Mbeumo if ranking the two. On the subject of Palmer, Adjacent Fairway asks if Nkunku's return is going to impact Palmer's minutes. Nkunku's been out for a long while and we're going to see him making his debut soon. But first of all, we certainly won't see him playing 90 immediately, he's going to be eased back in. Once he is back, I did wonder this exact same question though, and I did some digging the other day. Consensus among Chelsea fans is that Nkunku's return won't impact his minutes, even when he's ready to start. Palmer's their main creative outlet at the end of the day, and he's in fantastic form. Jackson's probably going to be the one that misses out. Some have speculated that he could lose penalties, but again I'd be surprised, having buried all 4 that Chelsea have won. And we don't even know for sure if Nkunku was ever on penalties. He did take 6 at RB Leipzig, he scored 5, missed 1. That said, even if Palmer was to lose penalties, he's still worth picking up. Since Palmer became a starter for Chelsea, he has a non-penalty expected goal involvement of 0.53 per 90, which is really impressive, especially when you consider that Spurs, Man City and Arsenal are included over that run. Three's Company says, will FPL content creators ever have a say in how the game can be improved? This is a fun one. I actually did a video on exactly this a year or so ago, but it's been a while and I've got some further thoughts. I've got 3 ideas I'd love to see FPL implement to improve the game for us. The first one is price change transparency. The FPL website or the app could easily state exactly when a player is going to rise or fall. At the moment it's guesswork and we have to use third-party sites, and there seems to be no benefit to keeping it under wraps, though some might argue that the unpredictability is a good thing. I've made a mock-up here on what it could look like. What do you think? Number 2 is being able to roll more than one transfer. If your team's set up really well, we sometimes make pointless transfers or even burn a transfer. What if you could roll more than one transfer? For example, if you go a couple of weeks without making a transfer, then you have 3 free transfers. It's a bit of a niche scenario, but it would reward good squad management. I like the idea of having several bank transfers, allowing me to do mini wildcards, so to speak. The last one is I'd love it if we were able to create additional teams. The caveat is that the additional teams don't log an overall rank. These could be used to do FPL challenges. For example, we could have the ability to set restrictions on the mini league. FPL could easily have some default ones for us to join, such as a no chips league, or maybe a double chips league, or a 90ml budget league, or even 1 player per team league, just a few ideas. There's so much they could do with this, which would ultimately increase engagement, which would be a win for them as well. The only thing stopping me making more fun content, like an fplfocal community team, is the rules which state you're allowed 1 team max per person. Let us know what you think of those ideas. Harshit Sukuma says, can we finally consider Chelsea in the up? I do think Chelsea are turning a corner. They're a bit unlucky to be where they are in the league table in 10th. They seem to be improving every week and their underlying data is solid. Looking at the last 6 game weeks, they're top in the league for expected goals. They've got a couple of tricky fixtures still ahead of them, and then they've got a stellar fixture run. So the likes of Palmer, Colwill and Sanchez, maybe Sterling and James could become great picks for that run. I'm looking to bring in a couple of Chelsea assets myself in the coming weeks with that all in mind. They've also got Nkunku returning from injury, as we mentioned earlier, who's been a big miss. Chelsea were playing really well in pre-season with him, and Nkunku scored 3 goals in 268 minutes. Let's have a look at the Experts transfers ahead of Friday's Experts video. The full breakdown is going to be on that video, so hit subscribe if you're not already. Here's what they're up to this week. Lots of transfers in for Mbeumo, with Mitoma and Bowen the 2 that they're dropping. It's looking unlikely that either are going to play in Gameweek 13. Some are opting for Eze instead, who does have a goal and an assist in the 2 games since returning from injury, and he's got Luton away this weekend. Eze is similar to Mbeumo in the sense that he's the talisman, he's on penalties and set pieces, and any goals that Palace score he stands a good chance of being involved in, much like Mbeumo with Brentford. Talismen are going to be crucial for the winter schedule where there's going to be lots of rotation to periphery players. We can at least expect the talisman players to start every match, and more often than not play 90 minutes as well. Jesus has returned from injury, so some are downgrading him to Archer. He's actually playable this week, home to Bournemouth. That frees up 1 million or so to spread around elsewhere. Nketiah's unlikely to get many minutes now with Jesus back, so he's a sell. Solanke scored a brace against Newcastle just before the break, and some are moving Alvarez on for him ahead of the Sheffield United fixture. More experts content to follow on Friday's video, so make sure you subscribe. Ben Murphy asks if we should consider James as a cash replacement, and Chris Johnson's got a similar question asking who the best cash replacements are, not just for this game week but beyond that. So to answer Ben first, the concern many have with James is not just his injury record, but again, what will his minutes look like in December? There's 7 game weeks crammed into the month. Game week 14 is on the 2nd of December. Game week 20 is the 30th of December. It's great for us in the sense of so much football to watch and FPL happening. But in terms of players like James, I'd be incredibly surprised if he wasn't benched once or twice in there. In terms of cash replacement, Saliba's the obvious one if you've got the 0.4 mil. Arsenal top of the clean sheet odds this week and he's nailed. Pedro Porro is great, but ideally you want to bench him for the Game Week 14 fixture when they're away to City. Much likelier to get an attacking return than Saliba, slightly cheaper, but an inferior defence. Guehi's great for the next 3 fixtures, but then he's got Liverpool, Man City, Game Week 16 and 17, so just be careful and check how your defence looks in those weeks. He's got Brighton home in blank Game Week 18 though, which is decent enough when we're going to be a couple of players down in most cases, when Man City and Brentford don't play. Lastly, Colwill. There is potential for him to miss a game, but Pochettino clearly loves him to the point that Chilwell couldn't get in the team ahead of him. What works in his favour is that he can play in left back and centre back, so we can safely assume that Thiago Silva is going to miss a game here and there in December, which could mean Colwill and Disasi in centre back, Chilwell left back, or maybe Cucurella gets a game. Chelsea's underlying numbers from a defensive standpoint are fairly good. They rank 5th best this season for expected goals conceded. Colwill is flagged at the moment though, so wait for an update there. He's probably better suited to a transfer in Game Week 14 when they're home to Brighton anyway. Lastly, I don't think it's a bad idea to give Cash the next 2 games and then sell, especially if Udogie is out, which is Cash's side. They'll be missing up to 3 of their first choice back 4, and then they've got Bournemouth in Game Week 14. I'm expecting Spurs to score though, so this week probably counting on an attacking return from Cash. Tokyo says, how are you doing? This one got 22 likes, I guess everyone wants to know how I'm doing. I'm good thanks, I'm enjoying the season and looking forward to FPL returning. How are you? Valentine asks how an Areola and Sanchez goalkeeper pair sounds. Yeah, this just might be the best goalkeeper combination. There's a website called fplrotationplanner.com which is for identifying the best rotations, and here's how Areola and Sanchez stack against one another. A strike through the fixture here means you bench them that week. So with the Areola and Sanchez rotation, you hit an almost entirely green fixture run between now and Game Week 29. Another good rotation though is Areola and Leno as shown here. Tons of home fixtures and again almost entirely green fixtures. Between Game Week 18 and Game Week 24, there's only 2 game weeks out of 7 that you'd want to be playing Areola, so the rotation's a good thing to be working towards. The last one is Areola and Neto. West Ham and Bournemouth rotate nearly perfectly. The only fixtures with an FDR rating of 3 are Brighton home and Brentford home. Obviously rotating goalkeepers can backfire though. There can be these random games where a team keeps a clean sheet where you wouldn't expect it and they rack up loads of save points and bonus. But when you've got a keeper that started the season at 4 mil in Areola, it's not like you're spending extra money. This was a massive mistake I made last season. There was the Kepa and Edison rotation that had a perfect run of games ahead and several double game weeks for each, but amazingly the one with the doubles scored worse every time. The difference there was the rotation cost a lot more than it does here, so at least it's minimal money being allocated. If you're an audio listener and can't see the fixtures, in a nutshell, you get great long-term fixtures if you pair Areola with one of Sanchez, Leno or Neto. If you found this video useful and you enjoyed it, hit like to support the channel and make sure you subscribe if you're not already. In the final video of the week tomorrow, we'll catch up with the experts. See you soon for the next one.